Peace. What is up, my conscious music creators? I am OnenO, and today we're going to dive right into Ableton, and I'm going to teach you the music theory behind finding any major and minor scale, as well as the chords that fit inside that scale. And all of the MIDI examples I'm about to show you, I've put together as a free pack. You can download it with a link in the description below. But without any further ado, let's jump into it. Alright, welcome back to my studio, and let's just dive into this. So first, I would like to show you this pack that I've made. As a free download, you're going to get the major scales with the major scale theory image. If you're a patron, then over on my Patreon, you'll be able to download the C minor scales with the minor scale image, as well as the major scales. But for the free download, I'm just going to show you how major scales are constructed and then briefly just show you what these are if you decide to become a patron and you want to download these. So before I teach you the music theory behind this, let's drag in this C major scale MIDI and just see what it looks like. Right here, you're going to find the C major scale MIDI, and I would really like to note before teaching you the theory that every single step up and down this keyboard is what we call a half step. So if I move this note up and down by individual notes, that's called half steps. If starting on C, you move it up 2 spaces, 1, 2, that's called a whole step. So let's listen to this scale. That is what the C major scale sounds like. So we have a mixture of whole steps and half steps. Jumping back over to the pack, you can see right here we have major scale theory, and let's open that up. So here's the major scale theory for how you can find any major scale. It doesn't matter what note you start on. In this example, we're starting on the note C because it's the easiest way to show this example. So to go from C to D, it's actually a whole step because you pass C sharp. Whereas going from the note E to F, it's a half step because it's only one note movement. So the theory defined any major scale is as follows. You start on a note, in this case C, and then you go up whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And now I'd like to show you that in MIDI format. So let's jump back into Ableton, open up the C major scale, and here you see that theory laid out in MIDI. So we start on C, we have a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And this is what it sounds like. Beautiful, lovely, major scale. So this is how you're going to be able to find any major scale is by applying this theory, the whole steps and the half steps. The cool thing about once you have this MIDI file is that you can take this entire major scale and move it to a different starting note. Like let's choose E flat. So that is what an E flat major scale sounds like. Let's move it to A. And there you go, now you have an A major scale. So let's put it back on C. And now we want to know, how do we find the chords that are inside this scale? Well, it's very easy. Basically, all you do is you create 3 notes based on the scale itself. A triad or a chord is made up of 3 notes. And let me just show you how we find those. So in order to make our first chord, we select the first one, we skip the next note and go to the third one. And let's drag that over. Now we skip one more note, grab this one, and drag that over. And this is our first chord. And you can see what I mean now. These 3 notes are all in the scale. To find our second chord, let's select here, skip a note, grab this one, move it over. Now we skip the next note, grab this one, and move it over. And now this is the second chord with the notes that are all inside the scale, the C major scale. Now instead of doing this for this whole thing, I've already made this as well into a MIDI region. So let's open up the pack. Here we have C major chords. Let's drag that in. And by looking at that, you can see these bottom notes are the scale, the C major scale. And then all of the triads are made up of the notes that are in the scale. So let's listen to what this sounds like. So now you have a clear reference for all of the chords that are available inside the C major scale. So it's really helpful when you're trying to figure out what chords to put into your production, what chords to put into your song. These are the chords that are all available inside of the C major key. So if you wanted to choose some of these chords, you could make a progression and they would all flow very, very well. The last MIDI region I'd like to show you is this one. It's called C major key. And if you drag that in, and then let's open it up, this is a representation of all of the notes up and down the keyboard that are available inside the C major key only. So instead of having the C major key going out horizontally like this, I have put the C major scale up and down the keyboard like this. So now if you zoom into one octave, you'll see all those same notes, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Those were originally laid out like this when you look at the scale, and now they're just up and down. So I made this so you can see exactly what notes are available for you when you want to actually create a melody. So you would know then, okay, if I want to create a melody over here, I can use this note, I can use this note, I can use this note, this note, and that one. So let's see what this melody sounds like. Really pretty. And that's because all of those notes fit inside of the major key. So that's how you can use this MIDI region. When you first drag it in, it just shows you all of the notes that are available inside the C major key up and down your keyboard. And so obviously you can move these notes up and down to different starting notes, like a G or an E flat or whatever, to see all the notes that are available inside that key. Now to show you the minor stuff, I'm just going to briefly touch on it because I've already explained the major key pretty in depth, but let's just drag in these 3 MIDI regions for the minor stuff. So over here we have the C minor scale. And then we have the C minor chords. And then here is the C minor key. So these are all the notes up and down the piano roll that are specific to the C minor scale. And I will just show you the theory really quick. So let's open up this file, which is called Minor Scale Theory. So here is the breakdown of whole steps and half steps for the minor scale theory. So in this example, we're starting on the note C, and then to get our scale, we move up whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step when we land back on C. So in this scale, the notes are C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. And now let's look at what that looks like when you actually put it on the keyboard. So back in Ableton, here's our C minor scale. And you can see we start on C, we have a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. So if that information sounds a little bit overwhelming, just remember it's like a musical key. It's like a theory. So you can find minor scales anywhere on your keyboard. But the cool thing about having this MIDI region is now we can take this C minor scale and maybe let's put it down on F sharp. And now we have an F sharp minor scale. Pretty rad. And likewise, yeah, you just heard the C major or C minor chords coming in. But if we moved all of these down to F sharp, those are all the chords that are available in the key signature of F sharp. So yeah, like I said, when you download this pack, the free download is going to include the major scale, major key, and major chords, and the major scale theory. If you download this pack from my Patreon, you're also going to get C minor chords, C minor key, and C minor scale with the minor scale theory image. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions on this stuff. I'll put a link for the free download as well as the Patreon link. Subscribe to my channel because I'm going to make a lot more of these kind of videos teaching you music theory as well as music production stuff. But until I see you again along the journey, oneness in sound, I am OnenO. Peace.
Support OnenO on patreon.com and gain access to